Sorry, got cut off. Uh, but yeah, like I was saying, I thought that was a really cool concept. Where it's like they got all these like dark motifs for Lucius. For like Noctis and his family. The kingdom of Lucius. Not Lucius means like light. Yeah, they're like we got so much like dark stuff going on. And then you had like Tenebrae, where like Stella was from, and Tenebrae I think means like darkness, and their whole thing was like whites. Like they're like light and benevolent and all that stuff. Uh, and then you even had like the reason the Empire attacked, where it was like again the reason they attacked was for their nation. Their crystal was dying out. Their nation was dying out. So the emperor felt like they probably, or whoever the leader was at the time, I don't know if they were emperor or what, but they felt like they had no choice. Like they did it for the people. He did it for his own country. He had no choice, and it's like it's still bad because you're just screwing over other people, but it's like at the same time it's like he's not just doing it for power. He's doing it for the well-being of his country and his people. So it's like a gray area, and that goes with the whole theme of the game. And that was really cool. But Final Fantasy 15, they just took that whole gray area, that whole gray ideology or morality and all that stuff, and just pretty much tossed it out the window for whatever reason. Uh, and like even if you didn't go with the whole, every other nation had crystals, it's like you still could have made it where Niflheim, the Emperor had Niflheim attack because it's like I don't know, like you could have made it where it was like, oh, Niflheim is in some dire need right now. We're not looking so good, and it's like we're doing it. We're taking your crystal because like we could use the power of your crystal to like help our country and our people and stuff because we got problems over there. And you could have still kept that whole like gray area in the story, but it's like no, we just like Tabata and the writers just made it stereotypical us versus them type thing, and it's ah, like you're giving again, giving the tools and not using them. Literally giving the blueprint and just deciding not to use it. You thought it was too complex or some junk. I don't know, dog. But it's like, other than that, what else? Uh, let's see. Theme, lore, story rewrite. All right, I want to try to like. I want to try to like see if I can kind of like explain how I think the story should have gone. You know, and again, this is all really coming from like the 2013 trailer. To be completely honest, like most of it, right? All right, so the story could have started off where it was like it could have been like an opening scene where it was like oh crap. And then before we get to that, before I talk about opening scenes, can we talk about how like dumb that freaking like Ifrit thing was in the very beginning of Final Fantasy 15? That little Ifrit preview. It's like first of all, it's like it's a personal thing for me. It's like I really like hate when stories do that whole like jump forward thing and then like go back to the actual beginning because to me it just screams we're not confident enough in you being interested in our story. So it's like let us try to like hit you with a stinger or something or whatever you call it to like get you interested and then rewind back because it's like oh are you curious, are you interested how we got here, and it's like no, for me personally I'm like no, it's like you just kind of spoiled your own story because you didn't have enough confidence in your own story, in your own writing to like keep the audience with you all the way through to get to that point. Like it was just so dumb. Like, but anyway, in my version, I think the story would have started off like it would start off with a cutscene. Obviously, the cutscene would have been like not a young Noctis and a young Stella. You know, it it would start off with a young Noctis and a young Stella in like this like grassy field, and they would have been running together and playing together and whatnot. And you would have heard Stella say, or let me change the name to Luna because it would have probably been Luna by this point. You would have heard like Luna say, you have to stop thinking about me and like worry about yourself. That's something that we heard in the 2013 trailer, you know. And then after that, like the sequence of them playing together, running through the field, it ends kind of like abruptly, and like we see Noctis, like a sleeping Noctis in like the back of a chauffeur, whatever you call it, limo, I don't know, in like a back of a chauffeur or whatever, and Uber. They probably have Uber in Final Fantasy 15, but like he's in the back of the Uber, he's sleeping, right? And then like we see him, and like he wakes up like, and so then we understand like, oh, he was dreaming. All right, so he was dreaming about somebody, and he even might like when he wakes up, he might even be like, he's like, oh, Luna, like he says like, oh, so then we're like, oh, that's who that was, Luna, this Luna girl, okay. So he was having a dream, and we see he's in the back of the car sleeping, being driven around by a chauffeur. So that already kind of like lets us know that, oh, okay, he's being driven around. So obviously he must be somebody of importance, maybe. And because he'll also be pretty dapper. He'll be in like this nice suit, a nice suit and tie. So it gives us a hint that he is somebody important. And then it's like when he wakes up, he'll like he then like looks out the window, because that's what he did in the trailer. Like after that little dream sequence, he looked out the window and he saw like airships in the distance, like coming into the city. So then that lets us know that would be Niflheim. That would be the Empire, like on their way to like sign the treaty over there, to sign the treaty or whatever. Uh, and then after that, we could flash forward, we could like move forward a little bit, and Noctis would be dropped off back at the palace. And so then it would be like, oh, so this dude is royalty. People would greet him and be like, oh, Prince Noctis and Prince Noctis. So it's like, all right, he's royalty. That's cool. And we could see him, meeting or like him speaking to people. We could see him speaking to people, throughout the day in a very like formal manner, you know, like, oh, how do you do, sir, and whatnot, and all that stuff. But then like later on throughout the day, when he's like off duty or off of work or whatever, we could like get introduced to each of the other characters, Prompto, Ignis, and Gladio, and and we could like maybe they could like go some meet up somewhere and go hang out, and we'd like learn like what each of their roles are, you know, throughout the day. Ignis is his caretaker, Gladio's his like bodyguard, Prompto is his best friend, and they just go hang out and chill together. So it's like it's cool. And so then we're like, okay, it's pretty cool. This royal dude is like very chill and laid back. He's very much not like uptight or anything like that. He just has to put up that whole regal front, that whole thing. And we'll get introduced. We'll also get introduced to his dad. Like while he's in the palace. And we'll get to see a little bit. We'll get to see some of their relationship. When they're alone and not around like a bunch of other people. But then after that, what else? I guess then like after that, some time could pass, and it's like we learn about how Niflheim, this foreign country, nation, or whatever, is like coming to have a treaty or whatever. Like Noctis and his friends, they could be out together and they're like talking about this. Like, how do you guys feel about Niflheim coming to sign a treaty or whatever? They could all give their opinion on it. Like, like some might be, I don't know how to feel. I don't trust them. Or one of them could be like, I think it's great that these nations are trying to come together for whatever reason or something like that. And then like the day could come where it's like like the day could come for when the treaty is about to be signed or whatever, right? And then this is when we're gonna have Noctis, you know, uh, at like the ball or whatever. I don't know where he was at, but wherever he met Stella, you know, in that trailer in the 2006 trailer. Now I'm about to start getting into the 2006 stuff back in the day. So it's like the day of the signing comes, right? And it's like you got Noctis, he's in his suit and he goes to the ball or whatever they're at, and he meets Stella and they have their little talk and their conversation, like like how they had. And then I meant to call her Luna, sorry. And then eventually some stuff starts going down, shortly after. Like I say shortly after, but he would still be in his suit. So when did he get a chance to change clothes? Mm, maybe not at that night of the ball that they would get attacked, but sometime maybe sometime later, maybe like the next day or whatever. And Noctis and the crew would be out and about in the town, and like we're doing their own thing. And it's like as they're out and about in town, you know, Niflheim and Regis, they're all together in that room, doing the signing. And then that famous scene happens where everybody like draws their weapon on each other and everything. And then it's like as like a fight is going down in there, all of a sudden it's like Niflheim starts the attack. They start blowing up the city and all that stuff like that. And then it's like you know Noctis is like, I knew we shouldn't have trusted them or whatever and stuff. And it's like as Niflheim is like releasing all these monsters and all these soldiers and destroying the city and all that stuff, this is where the gameplay kicks in. And it's like the main mission is pretty much at this point get to the capital, get to where your dad is. And it's like at this point, this can be the tutorial, because we do see that in the older trailers where Noctis and crew they're like in the city, running around fighting the soldiers and the monsters and stuff. This is gonna all be the tutorial while you're making your way to the capital. And so while you make your way to the capital and all that stuff, fighting your way there, you seeing all this chaos and stuff. Tension is building, tension is rising, and then you can eventually get to the capital and you go inside, and then we get there and we see. Now this is kind of where the movie, some little stuff in the movie starts to kind of like would overlap. But Noctis is there instead of like Nyx. So it's like Noctis shows up to the signing area, right? And it's like just as he gets there, right, he sees his dad get killed. It can be by that Glauca dude. I think that's what his name was. The dude with the armor and the big sword. Like Noctis and company, they can show up like right as like that dude kills Regis, right, or something like that. But instead of like sticking around, like I guess Regis, like maybe Glauca can just like like run away or something. I don't know, because I'm trying to like not have him there so Noctis can like talk to his dad like as he's like dying in his arms or something. But anyway, it's like Noctis gets there and like his dad is probably dying, and then Noctis like runs over to Regis and it's like he's holding him in his arms as he's bleeding out and dying, and they have like one last heart to heart. And I think that'll be really good. And he says some actually good and non-cliche stuff, and it'll be a really touching moment. It's really sad, and it's like just before he dies, Regis takes the ring and gives it to Noctis, and you might be like, well, why would he give him the ring now? He got it much later in the game, right? It's like, yeah, but here's the thing. I remember in one of the previous trailers, it was beyond the 2013 one too now. This was completely when Tabata took over. There was one scene where at the end of the trailer, we see Noctis, and he's walking, and he stops, and he's like, thanks for everything, Dad. I'll take it from here. And then he takes out the ring and just puts it on and just walks into the stream, and then end of trailer. And it's like I don't know what Tabata originally envisioned for that particular scene, but it made it look like he had the ring the entire time, but he just didn't put it on because he just couldn't handle it at the time. He just didn't want to put it on. Like he wasn't ready. You know what I'm saying? But it's like even in that little scene in that trailer, it feels more like, again, like there was more of a connection between Noctis and his dad than actually in Final Fantasy 15. Because like for me, it just that was just like another little snippet scene to where Noctis he was just like very calm, and he looked like he was very calm, and from his voice, it sounded from like what he said, it sounded like he might have like had gone through a lot at whatever that point in the game was, and he was just like, thanks dad for everything, like any anger, any contempt that might have been in him at that time, any sadness and sorrow that would have been like overtaking him at that point in time, like whatever that scene was, it might have been gone a significant amount, and he might have like settled now, and he's like, I gotta do this, I'm the king now. And so he was like, thanks dad for everything, you know and he's like, I'm ready now, and like he takes the ring, puts it on, and just keeps on walking. And it's like that, like yo, like it's weird. I feel like I trip over like the littlest stuff, but it's like for me that was such a good scene for whatever I envisioned the game was going to be at that time. But still, it's like back to what I was saying. Regis is dying in Noctis' hand, in Noctis' arms. Then Regis gives him the ring. Noctis doesn't put it on. He just puts it in his pocket or whatever. And it's just like, he doesn't want to go. He wants to stay here with his dad. But then it's like, maybe Ignis is like, we have to go. Like, we have to get out of here, Noctis. I'm sorry, but like, we have to go. We have to get out of here. So then, they get him and they drag him on out. And then it's like, okay. Now, this is where the 2006 stuff, like, really comes in again now, right? So, Noctis just experienced his dad die in his arms, right? His last family member. The only member of his family that was left now. Because his mom died, like, when he was younger or when he was born or something. But, like, the last member of his family, his dad, gone. By this nation, this group of people, who just stabbed him in the back, betrayed his trust, right? And so Noctis is furious. He's so angry, right? His dad just died. These people betrayed them. All these, his city is being destroyed and all this stuff. And so he walks out of the capital. And we all should know what the capital looks like by now because we've seen it so many times. We've even seen it in like Final Fantasy 15, Kingsglaive. The capital is, the area where the stairs are. The stairs are where Noctis like walks down in that 2016 where he starts fighting all the people. That's the scene I'm talking about for right now. So again, Noctis, he's angry, he's upset. He walks out of that area, and he's standing at the top of the stairs, and at the bottom of the stairs are like a ton of soldiers, all just aiming their gun at him. And Noctis is furious, but he's not like, ah, he's just like he was in the 2006 trailer. He's just calm, he's chill, but he's furious on the inside. And then he just steps out and starts slowly walking down the stairs like in the 2006 trailer. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll say some like anime jump, like, stay back guys, I got this or whatever. And then it's like the guards, all the like soldiers start shooting at him and all this stuff. And then there's just like all the bullets just flying, just like popping off, and like they ain't hitting him because he got like, the armature weapons are deflecting. Basically the 2006 trailer. Like, this is the reason Noctis was like, this could be the reason why Noctis was like so ruthless in that trailer. Why he was so merciless. Because he just witnessed his dad die because of these people. And so like in the trailer, he just goes on the onslaught and kills them all. Right? But after that, eventually they have to get going. They have to leave the capital, and so yeah, that's pretty much that whole part, like it could have been honestly handled a lot better, Like he would have added a whole and like this is like the whole like brotherhood thing where it's like Noctis has this like really he's still like himself. He still has his personality, but it's like he has this like deep like hatred now for the king for the Niflheim Empire now. You know, and maybe you could express that in a cutscene where it's like after they leave the capital and like they come across their first group of enemies from Niflheim. You know, the soldiers that always show up in random areas. You could have a cutscene where it's like after you fight them, like one of the soldiers just like trying to crawl away, and like Noctis like walks over to them and just ruthlessly just like stabs them, you know, and kills them dead. And it's like, that could help show that he's really just like he really hates these guys, right? And it's just like the whole message of brotherhood could really come in and like show how even though he is upset, even though his father is gone, it's like he's not alone. Like these dudes have been with him the entire time. They're always gonna be there for him. Like they are his family too. And and like you push that message. You push that message of brotherhood, of family. Throughout the story. To help Noctis, truly get back to his old self. You know. Uh, what else? What else? Uh, I don't really know. Honestly, I feel like Tabata and the writers could have just like if this whole thing that I was talking about just now was the beginning, and they just could have worked from beyond that, then I feel like the story would have been like much better. I feel like it would have been much better if they just went with that. What else? What else? God. Mm, trying to think. What other role did like Stella play? I think she was supposed to be like a rival or something for Noctis. I know they were supposed to like fight or something like that, but it's like I don't know. But yeah, that's. I know. I feel like I had some other stuff I wanted to freaking talk about though, man. Like, mm, no, I think that's all I gotta really say about right now. So yeah, so I feel about the story and everything.